I'd like to bake a cake this weekend.
我想在这个周末烤一个蛋糕。
I'd like to bake a cake this weekend. What flavor do you want for the cake?
你想要什么口味的蛋糕？
What flavor do you want for the cake? How about chocolate?
巧克力怎么样？
How about chocolate? Chocolate sounds delicious.
巧克力听起来很好吃。
Chocolate sounds delicious. Do you have all the ingredients?
你有所有的配料吗？
Do you have all the ingredients? I need to buy eggs and flour.
我需要买鸡蛋和面粉。
I need to buy eggs and flour. Let's go to the grocery store together.
我们一起去杂货店吧。
Let's go to the grocery store together. Do you have a cake recipe?
你有蛋糕食谱吗？
Do you have a cake recipe? Yes, I found one online.
有，我在网上找到了一个。
Yes, I found one online. What are the main ingredients?
主要的配料是什么？
What are the main ingredients? We need sugar, butter, and baking powder.
我们需要糖、黄油和发酵粉。
We need sugar, butter, and baking powder. How long does it take to bake?
烘焙需要多长时间？
How long does it take to bake? It takes about 30 minutes.
大约需要30分钟。
It takes about 30 minutes. What temperature should the oven be?
烤箱应该预热到什么温度？
What temperature should the oven be? Set it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit.
设定为350华氏度。
Set it to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Should we prepare the baking pan?
我们要准备烤盘吗？
Should we prepare the baking pan? Yes, we need to grease it first.
是的，我们需要先给它抹油。
Yes, we need to grease it first. Do you want to decorate the cake?
你想装饰蛋糕吗？
Do you want to decorate the cake? Absolutely. Let's use some icing.
当然，我们用一些糖霜吧。
Absolutely. Let's use some icing. What kind of icing do you prefer?
你喜欢哪种糖霜？
What kind of icing do you prefer? Buttercream icing would be great.
黄油霜会很好。
Buttercream icing would be great. Do you have food coloring for decoration?
你有用于装饰的食用色素吗？
Do you have food coloring for decoration? Yes, I have some bright colors.
有，我有一些鲜艳的颜色。
Yes, I have some bright colors. Let's mix the colors into the icing.
让我们把颜色混入糖霜中。
Let's mix the colors into the icing. How do we make the icing?
我们怎么做糖霜？
How do we make the icing? We need to whip butter and sugar together.
我们需要把黄油和糖打在一起。
We need to whip butter and sugar together. Should we add milk to make it smoother?
我们应该加牛奶让它更顺滑吗？
Should we add milk to make it smoother? Yes, just a little bit.
是的，只需一点点。
Yes, just a little bit. I'm excited to see how it turns out.
我很期待看到结果。
I'm excited to see how it turns out. Me too. Baking is always fun.
我也是。烘焙总是很有趣。
Me too. Baking is always fun. Have you ever tried making bread?
你有没有试过做面包？
Have you ever tried making bread? Not yet, but I want to learn.
还没有，但我想学习。
Not yet, but I want to learn. Making bread is a bit different from cakes.
做面包和蛋糕有点不同。
Making bread is a bit different from cakes. What's the main difference?
主要的区别是什么？
What's the main difference? Bread requires yeast for rising.
面包需要酵母来发酵。
Bread requires yeast for rising. Do you have a bread recipe?
你有面包食谱吗？
Do you have a bread recipe? Yes, I can share one with you.
有，我可以和你分享一个。
Yes, I can share one with you. What kind of bread do you want to make?
你想做什么样的面包？
What kind of bread do you want to make? How about a classic sourdough?
经典的酸面包怎么样？
How about a classic sourdough? That sounds delicious.
听起来很好吃。
That sounds delicious. We'll need to start the dough early.
我们需要早点开始和面。
We'll need to start the dough early. How long does the dough need to rise?
面团需要发酵多长时间？
How long does the dough need to rise? At least an hour or two.
至少1个小时或2个小时。
At least an hour or two. Can we make a pizza with the dough?
我们可以用面团做披萨吗？
Can we make a pizza with the dough? Yes, pizza dough is similar.
是的，披萨面团很相似。
Yes, pizza dough is similar. What toppings do you like on pizza?
你喜欢在披萨上放什么配料？
What toppings do you like on pizza? I love pepperoni and mushrooms.
我喜欢意大利香肠和蘑菇。
I love pepperoni and mushrooms. Sounds good. Let's add some cheese too.
听起来不错，我们也加一些奶酪吧。
Sounds good. Let's add some cheese too. What kind of cheese do you prefer?
你喜欢哪种奶酪？
What kind of cheese do you prefer? Mozzarella is my favorite for pizza.
马苏里拉是我最喜欢的披萨奶酪。
Mozzarella is my favorite for pizza. We can make a homemade pizza sauce too.
我们还可以做自制披萨酱。
We can make a homemade pizza sauce too. What's in the sauce?
酱料里有什么？
What's in the sauce? Tomato, garlic, and herbs are key ingredients.
西红柿、大蒜和香草是关键成分。
Tomato, garlic, and herbs are key ingredients. Do we need to cook the sauce?
我们需要煮酱吗？
Do we need to cook the sauce? Just simmer it for a bit.
只需稍微炖一下。
Just simmer it for a bit. Can we bake the pizza on a stone?
我们可以在石板上烤披萨吗？
Can we bake the pizza on a stone? Yes, that gives it a nice crust.
是的，那样能让饼皮很好吃。
Yes, that gives it a nice crust. What temperature should we bake the pizza?
我们应该把披萨烤到什么温度？
What temperature should we bake the pizza? Around 475 degrees Fahrenheit works well.
大约475华氏度，效果很好。
Around 475 degrees Fahrenheit works well. How long will it take to bake?
烘烤需要多长时间？
How long will it take to bake? About 12 to 15 minutes.
大约12到15分钟。
About 12 to 15 minutes. Can I help with anything?
我可以帮忙吗？
Can I help with anything? Sure, can you chop the vegetables?
当然，你可以切一些蔬菜吗？
Sure, can you chop the vegetables? What vegetables should I chop?
我该切什么蔬菜？
What vegetables should I chop? Let's use bell peppers and onions.
我们用彩椒和洋葱吧。
Let's use bell peppers and onions. Do you have a favorite dessert?
你有最喜欢的甜点吗？
Do you have a favorite dessert? I really love cheesecake.
我真的很喜欢芝士蛋糕。
I really love cheesecake. That's a classic. Do you want to make one?
那是经典。你想做一个吗？
That's a classic. Do you want to make one? Yes. What ingredients do we need?
是的。我们需要什么配料？
Yes. What ingredients do we need? Cream cheese, sugar, and graham cracker crust.
奶油奶酪、糖和消化饼干底。
Cream cheese, sugar, and graham cracker crust. Do we need to bake the crust?
我们需要烘烤饼底吗？
Do we need to bake the crust? Yes, bake it for about 10 minutes.
是的，烘烤大约10分钟。
Yes, bake it for about 10 minutes. How long do we bake the cheesecake?
我们需要烤多长时间的芝士蛋糕？
How long do we bake the cheesecake? About an hour at a low temperature.
低温烤大约1个小时。
About an hour at a low temperature. Do we need to cool it after baking?
烘烤后，我们需要冷却吗？
Do we need to cool it after baking? Yes, it needs to set in the fridge.
是的，它需要在冰箱里冷却。
Yes, it needs to set in the fridge. What toppings do you like on cheesecake?
你喜欢在芝士蛋糕上放什么配料？
What toppings do you like on cheesecake? I love fresh berries and whipped cream.
我喜欢新鲜的浆果和鲜奶油。
I love fresh berries and whipped cream. That sounds perfect.
听起来太完美了。
That sounds perfect. Do you have a favorite pastry?
你有最喜欢的糕点吗？
Do you have a favorite pastry? I really enjoy croissants.
我真的很喜欢可颂。
I really enjoy croissants. Making croissants is a bit complicated.
做可颂有点复杂。
Making croissants is a bit complicated. What's the hardest part?
最难的部分是什么？
What's the hardest part? The folding and rolling process takes time.
折叠和擀面团的过程需要时间。
The folding and rolling process takes time. It takes about 2 hours to make the dough.
制作面团大约需要2个小时。
It takes about 2 hours to make the dough. Do we need to let the dough rest?
我们需要让面团静置吗？
Do we need to let the dough rest? Yes, resting helps the gluten develop.
是的，静置有助于面筋发展。
Yes, resting helps the gluten develop. Can we add chocolate to the croissants?
我们可以在可颂里加巧克力吗？
Can we add chocolate to the croissants? Absolutely. Chocolate croissants are amazing.
当然，巧克力可颂太棒了。
Absolutely. Chocolate croissants are amazing. What's your favorite way to enjoy pastries?
你最喜欢怎么享用糕点？
What's your favorite way to enjoy pastries? I love having them with a cup of coffee.
我喜欢搭配一杯咖啡。
I love having them with a cup of coffee. Do you prefer sweet or savory pastries?
你喜欢甜的还是咸的糕点？
Do you prefer sweet or savory pastries? I prefer sweet pastries, like danishes.
我更喜欢甜点，比如丹麦酥。
I prefer sweet pastries, like danishes. Have you ever tried making puff pastry?
你试过做千层酥吗？
Have you ever tried making puff pastry? Not yet, but I'm curious about it.
还没有，但我对它很好奇。
Not yet, but I'm curious about it. Puff pastry is flaky and light.
千层酥酥脆轻盈。
Puff pastry is flaky and light. What do we need to make puff pastry?
我们需要什么来制作千层酥？
What do we need to make puff pastry? Flour, butter, water, and a pinch of salt.
面粉、黄油、水和一点盐。
Flour, butter, water, and a pinch of salt. Is it difficult to handle?
它难以操作吗？
Is it difficult to handle? It requires careful folding and rolling.
需要小心的折叠和擀制。
It requires careful folding and rolling. How long does puff pastry need to chill?
千层酥需要冷藏多久？
How long does puff pastry need to chill? At least 30 minutes in the fridge.
至少在冰箱里冷藏30分钟。
At least 30 minutes in the fridge. What can we make with puff pastry?
我们可以用千层酥做什么？
What can we make with puff pastry? We can make tarts, turnovers, and pastries.
我们可以做榻、转身饼和糕点。
We can make tarts, turnovers, and pastries. I'd love to try making fruit tarts.
我想尝试做水果榻。
I'd love to try making fruit tarts. What fruits do you want to use?
你想用什么水果？
What fruits do you want to use? Fresh strawberries and blueberries sound great.
新鲜的草莓和蓝莓听起来不错。
Fresh strawberries and blueberries sound great. We should make a custard for the filling.
我们应该做一个奶油夹心。
We should make a custard for the filling. How do we make custard?
我们怎么做奶油夹心？
How do we make custard? We need eggs, sugar, and milk.
我们需要鸡蛋、糖和牛奶。
We need eggs, sugar, and milk. Do we cook the custard on the stove?
我们要在炉子上煮奶油夹心吗？
Do we cook the custard on the stove? Yes, gently heat it while stirring.
是的，边搅拌边轻轻加热。
Yes, gently heat it while stirring. What's your favorite pie?
你最喜欢的派是什么？
What's your favorite pie? I love apple pie.
我爱苹果派。
I love apple pie. Apple pie is a classic dessert.
苹果派是经典甜点。
Apple pie is a classic dessert. What ingredients do we need for apple pie?
我们需要哪些材料来做苹果派？
What ingredients do we need for apple pie? Apples, sugar, cinnamon, and pie crust.
苹果、糖、肉桂和派皮。
Apples, sugar, cinnamon, and pie crust. Do you peel the apples first?
你先削皮吗？
Do you peel the apples first? Yes, we need to peel and slice them.
是的，我们需要削皮并切片。
Yes, we need to peel and slice them. How long do we bake the apple pie?
我们需要烘烤苹果派多久？
How long do we bake the apple pie? About 45 to 50 minutes.
大约45到50分钟。
About 45 to 50 minutes. Should we cover the pie with foil?
我们应该用铝箔盖住派吗？
Should we cover the pie with foil? Yes, if it browns too quickly.
是的，如果它变得过快。
Yes, if it browns too quickly. What's your favorite cake?
你最喜欢的蛋糕是什么？
What's your favorite cake? I love red velvet cake.
我爱红丝绒蛋糕。
I love red velvet cake. Red velvet cake is so rich and moist.
红丝绒蛋糕真是太丰富湿润了。
Red velvet cake is so rich and moist. What ingredients do we need for red velvet cake?
我们需要什么材料做红丝绒蛋糕？
What ingredients do we need for red velvet cake? Flour, cocoa powder, buttermilk, and food coloring.
面粉、可可粉、酪乳和食用色素。
Flour, cocoa powder, buttermilk, and food coloring. How do we get that deep red color?
我们如何获得那种深红色？
How do we get that deep red color? We use a lot of food coloring.
我们使用大量的食用色素。
We use a lot of food coloring. Do we need to frost the cake?
我们需要给蛋糕上糖霜吗？
Do we need to frost the cake? Yes, cream cheese frosting is the best.
是的，奶油奶酪糖霜是最好的。
Yes, cream cheese frosting is the best. How do we make the cream cheese frosting?
我们怎么做奶油奶酪糖霜？
How do we make the cream cheese frosting? We need cream cheese, butter, and powdered sugar.
我们需要奶油奶酪、黄油和糖粉。
We need cream cheese, butter, and powdered sugar. What's the best way to frost the cake?
给蛋糕上糖霜的最佳方法是什么？
What's the best way to frost the cake? Use an offset spatula for a smooth finish.
使用一个偏移抹刀可以让表面光滑。
Use an offset spatula for a smooth finish. Can we add sprinkles on top?
我们可以在上面撒糖果吗？
Can we add sprinkles on top? Yes, that will make it look festive.
是的，这会让它看起来很节日气氛。
Yes, that will make it look festive. What's your favorite chocolate dessert?
你最喜欢的巧克力甜点是什么？
What's your favorite chocolate dessert? I love molten chocolate lava cake.
我爱熔岩巧克力蛋糕。
I love molten chocolate lava cake. That's so rich and indulgent.
那太丰富奢华了。
That's so rich and indulgent. What ingredients do we need for that?
我们需要什么材料？
What ingredients do we need for that? Chocolate, butter, sugar, eggs, and flour.
巧克力、黄油、糖、鸡蛋和面粉。
Chocolate, butter, sugar, eggs, and flour. How long do we bake it for?
我们需要烘烤多久？
How long do we bake it for? Only about 12 minutes for a gooey center.
只需大约12分钟以获得流心。
Only about 12 minutes for a gooey center. Can we serve it with ice cream?
我们可以配冰淇淋吗？
Can we serve it with ice cream? Absolutely. Vanilla ice cream is perfect.
当然，香草冰淇淋非常完美。
Absolutely. Vanilla ice cream is perfect. Do you like cookies?
你喜欢饼干吗？
Do you like cookies? Yes, especially chocolate chip cookies.
是的，尤其是巧克力碎片饼干。
Yes, especially chocolate chip cookies. What do we need for chocolate chip cookies?
我们需要什么做巧克力饼干？
What do we need for chocolate chip cookies? Butter, sugar, brown sugar, eggs, and chocolate chips.
黄油、糖、红糖、鸡蛋和巧克力豆。
Butter, sugar, brown sugar, eggs, and chocolate chips. How do we make the dough?
我们怎么做面团？
How do we make the dough? Cream the butter and sugars together first.
先把黄油和糖搅拌在一起。
Cream the butter and sugars together first. Do we need to chill the dough?
我们需要冷藏面团吗？
Do we need to chill the dough? Yes, for about 30 minutes.
是的，冷藏大约30分钟。
Yes, for about 30 minutes. How long do we bake the cookies?
我们需要烘烤饼干多久？
How long do we bake the cookies? About 10 to 12 minutes.
大约10到12分钟。
About 10 to 12 minutes. Should we let them cool on a wire rack?
我们应该把它们放在冷却架上冷却吗？
Should we let them cool on a wire rack? Yes, that helps them stay crispy.
是的，这有助于保持酥脆。
Yes, that helps them stay crispy. What's your favorite frosting flavor?
你最喜欢的糖霜口味是什么？
What's your favorite frosting flavor? I love vanilla frosting.
我爱香草糖霜。
I love vanilla frosting. Do you prefer buttercream or cream cheese frosting?
你喜欢黄油糖霜还是奶油奶酪糖霜？
Do you prefer buttercream or cream cheese frosting? I prefer buttercream for its sweetness.
我更喜欢黄油糖霜，因为它很甜。
I prefer buttercream for its sweetness. What's your favorite type of cookie?
你最喜欢的饼干是什么？
What's your favorite type of cookie? I love oatmeal raisin cookies.
我喜欢燕麦葡萄干饼干。
I love oatmeal raisin cookies. Those are so chewy and delicious.
那些饼干又嚼又好吃。
Those are so chewy and delicious. What do we need to make oatmeal cookies?
我们需要什么来做燕麦饼干？
What do we need to make oatmeal cookies? Oats, flour, sugar, and raisins.
燕麦、面粉、糖和葡萄干。
Oats, flour, sugar, and raisins. Do we need to soak the raisins first?
我们需要先泡葡萄干吗？
Do we need to soak the raisins first? No, just add them straight into the dough.
不，只需直接加入面团中。
No, just add them straight into the dough. How long do we bake the oatmeal cookies?
我们需要烘烤燕麦饼干多久？
How long do we bake the oatmeal cookies? About 10 to 12 minutes is perfect.
大约10到12分钟最完美。
About 10 to 12 minutes is perfect. What's your favorite way to enjoy cookies?
你最喜欢怎么享用饼干？
What's your favorite way to enjoy cookies? I love them with a glass of milk.
我喜欢搭配一杯牛奶。
I love them with a glass of milk. Do you like to bake with friends?
你喜欢和朋友一起烘焙吗？
Do you like to bake with friends? Yes, it's so much fun to bake together.
是的，大家一起烘焙真的很有趣。
Yes, it's so much fun to bake together. What's your favorite baking memory?
你最喜欢的烘焙回忆是什么？
What's your favorite baking memory? Baking cookies with my mom during the holidays.
假期和妈妈一起烘焙饼干。
Baking cookies with my mom during the holidays. Do you have a favorite baking tool?
你有最喜欢的烘焙工具吗？
Do you have a favorite baking tool? I love my stand mixer for making dough.
我喜欢我的立式搅拌机来做面团。
I love my stand mixer for making dough. What's your favorite baking show?
你最喜欢的烘焙节目是什么？
What's your favorite baking show? I really enjoy the Great British Bake Off.
我真的很喜欢英国大烘焙赛。
I really enjoy the Great British Bake Off. That show has amazing recipes.
那个节目有很棒的食谱。
That show has amazing recipes. Do you ever watch baking tutorials online?
你会在网上看烘焙教程吗？
Do you ever watch baking tutorials online? Yes, they're very helpful.
是的，它们非常有帮助。
Yes, they're very helpful. What's your go-to dessert for parties?
你在派对上常做的甜点是什么？
What's your go-to dessert for parties? I usually make mini cupcakes.
我通常做迷你杯子蛋糕。
I usually make mini cupcakes. What flavors do you make?
你做什么口味的？
What flavors do you make? Chocolate, vanilla, and red velvet.
巧克力、香草和红丝绒。
Chocolate, vanilla, and red velvet. Do you decorate the cupcakes?
你会装饰杯子蛋糕吗？
Do you decorate the cupcakes? Yes, I love to use colorful frosting.
是的，我喜欢用彩色糖霜装饰。
Yes, I love to use colorful frosting. What's your favorite way to decorate cakes?
你最喜欢用什么方式装饰蛋糕？
What's your favorite way to decorate cakes? I like to use fresh fruits and edible flowers.
我喜欢用新鲜水果和可食用花朵。
I like to use fresh fruits and edible flowers. How do you feel about fondant?
你对翻糖有什么看法？
How do you feel about fondant? I think it looks beautiful, but it's tricky to work with.
我觉得它看起来很美，但操作起来很棘手。
I think it looks beautiful, but it's tricky to work with. Have you ever made a fondant cake?
你做过翻糖蛋糕吗？
Have you ever made a fondant cake? Yes, but it was quite challenging.
做过，但那真是挺有挑战性的。
Yes, but it was quite challenging. What type of cake do you want to try next?
你想尝试做什么类型的蛋糕？
What type of cake do you want to try next? I'd love to make a layered cake.
我想做一个分层蛋糕。
I'd love to make a layered cake. What flavors should we use for the layers?
我们应该用什么口味的层？
What flavors should we use for the layers? How about lemon and blueberry?
柠檬和蓝莓怎么样？
How about lemon and blueberry? That sounds refreshing and delicious.
听起来既清爽又好吃。
That sounds refreshing and delicious. What kind of filling should we use?
我们应该用什么夹心？
What kind of filling should we use? Lemon curd would be perfect.
柠檬酱会很完美。
Lemon curd would be perfect. How do we make the lemon curd?
我们怎么做柠檬酱？
How do we make the lemon curd? We need lemons, sugar, eggs, and butter.
我们需要柠檬、糖、鸡蛋和黄油。
We need lemons, sugar, eggs, and butter. Do we cook it on the stove?
我们在炉子上煮吗？
Do we cook it on the stove? Yes, we cook it gently until it thickens.
是的，轻轻加热，直到变稠。
Yes, we cook it gently until it thickens. How long does it take to cool?
冷却需要多长时间？
How long does it take to cool? About an hour in the fridge.
在冰箱里大约1个小时。
About an hour in the fridge. What kind of frosting goes well with it?
什么样的糖霜搭配它比较好？
What kind of frosting goes well with it? Cream cheese frosting would be great.
奶油奶酪糖霜会很好。
Cream cheese frosting would be great. Do you like to experiment with flavors?
你喜欢尝试新口味吗？
Do you like to experiment with flavors? Yes, I love combining unexpected flavors.
是的，我喜欢组合意想不到的口味。
Yes, I love combining unexpected flavors. What's the most unusual dessert you've made?
你做过最不寻常的甜点是什么？
What's the most unusual dessert you've made? I made matcha and white chocolate brownies.
我做过抹茶和白巧克力布朗尼。
I made matcha and white chocolate brownies. That sounds interesting. Did you like it?
听起来很有趣。你喜欢吗？
That sounds interesting. Did you like it? Yes, the flavors worked well together.
是的，味道很搭配。
Yes, the flavors worked well together. Do you ever bake gluten-free desserts?
你有做无麸质甜点吗？
Do you ever bake gluten-free desserts? Yes, I've made gluten-free brownies before.
有，我做过无麸质布朗尼。
Yes, I've made gluten-free brownies before. What flour do you use for gluten-free baking?
你用什么面粉做无麸质烘焙？
What flour do you use for gluten-free baking? I usually use almond flour or coconut flour.
我通常使用杏仁粉或椰子粉。
I usually use almond flour or coconut flour. Have you ever made a vegan dessert?
你做过素食甜点吗？
Have you ever made a vegan dessert? Yes, I've made vegan chocolate mousse.
有，我做过素食巧克力慕斯。
Yes, I've made vegan chocolate mousse. What did you use to replace eggs?
你用什么代替鸡蛋？
What did you use to replace eggs? I used aquafaba, which is chickpea liquid.
我用豆星液及鹰嘴豆液体。
I used aquafaba, which is chickpea liquid. Did it turn out well?
结果怎么样？
Did it turn out well? Yes, it was creamy and delicious.
是的，口感奶油滑顺且美味。
Yes, it was creamy and delicious. Do you like to bake during the holidays?
你喜欢在节假日烘焙吗？
Do you like to bake during the holidays? Yes, I love making holiday treats.
是的，我喜欢做节日美食。
Yes, I love making holiday treats. What's your favorite holiday dessert?
你最喜欢的节日甜点是什么？
What's your favorite holiday dessert? I love making gingerbread cookies.
我喜欢做姜饼饼干。
I love making gingerbread cookies. What spices do we need for gingerbread?
我们需要哪些香料来做姜饼？
What spices do we need for gingerbread? Ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg are essential.
姜、肉桂和肉豆蔻是必不可少的。
Ginger, cinnamon, and nutmeg are essential. How do we shape the gingerbread cookies?
我们怎么给姜饼饼干定型？
How do we shape the gingerbread cookies? We can use cookie cutters for fun shapes.
我们可以使用饼干切模做有趣的形状。
We can use cookie cutters for fun shapes. Can we decorate them with icing?
我们可以用糖霜装饰它们吗？
Can we decorate them with icing? Yes, that makes them festive.
是的，这让它们更具节日气氛。
Yes, that makes them festive. What's your favorite way to serve desserts?
你最喜欢怎么呈现甜点？
What's your favorite way to serve desserts? I love using pretty dessert plates.
我喜欢使用漂亮的甜点盘子。
I love using pretty dessert plates. Do you enjoy baking for others?
你喜欢为别人烘焙吗？
Do you enjoy baking for others? Yes, it's great to share treats with friends.
是的，和朋友分享美食很棒。
Yes, it's great to share treats with friends. What's your favorite baked good to gift?
你最喜欢送什么烘焙食品？
What's your favorite baked good to gift? I love giving homemade cookies as gifts.
我喜欢送自制饼干作为礼物。
I love giving homemade cookies as gifts. How do you package them for gifting?
你怎么包装它们以便送人？
How do you package them for gifting? I usually put them in decorative boxes or bags.
我通常把它们放在装饰盒或袋子里。
I usually put them in decorative boxes or bags. What about making cake pops?
做蛋糕棒怎么样？
What about making cake pops? Cake pops are adorable and easy to share.
蛋糕棒可爱，而且易于分享。
Cake pops are adorable and easy to share. What flavors do you want to try for cake pops?
你想尝试什么口味的蛋糕棒？
What flavors do you want to try for cake pops? Chocolate and vanilla are classic choices.
巧克力和香草是经典选择。
Chocolate and vanilla are classic choices. How do we make cake pops?
我们怎么做蛋糕棒？
How do we make cake pops? We bake a cake, crumble it, and mix with frosting.
我们先烤一个蛋糕，捏碎，然后混合糖霜。
We bake a cake, crumble it, and mix with frosting.